Have you seen this on SportsCenter yet?
As Wendy would say, when he's not signing, and he can, something's going on in New York. And it was.
You just made $200
Trademark that?
$50 each of them.
There you go. LeBron was not the only injury to affect the top 6 playoff team. Wendy, what are you watching across the league?
So, look, I talked about injuries. We got injuries for this last few days to a bunch of top teams. Let's start with Jalen Brunson. He had that turned ankle that he had here in L.A. last week. The Knicks didn't say it was a second-degree ankle sprain, but that's essentially what their timeline is set it at. That's typically a 2 to 4 week injury. Okay, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 4. It's going to hurt them, especially when they're out on the West Coast. But again, they're pretty, it's locked into that third position. They just can't fall apart as a team. Karl Towns is back. They should have enough time to recover from that. Same situation in Memphis, Jaren Jackson. Last week, he suffers a second-degree ankle sprain. Again, a multi-week injury. They're going to go week to week. This happens at a rough time because of where they are, the Grizzlies are in their schedule. They've got a tough weekend coming up. They got the Cavs coming in on Friday. But it does give him time to heal, and there's teams around them that have injuries. So it's not ideal, but Ja Morant has had 2 excellent games in a row pushing through a shoulder injury. This could help him get going. And then you've got one more, which is down in Houston. This is a team in 4th place right now, the Houston Rockets. A very unfortunate injury to Amen Thompson on Saturday night. He was back in the game to chase a triple-double. First possession, turns his ankle, and he is now going to be out, Shams says, 1 to 2 weeks. They are already struggling without Fred VanVleet. He's missed the last 15 games. Their offense has cratered during that run. Ahmed has been terrific scoring in addition to his great defense. VanVleet is getting closer. I believe he's questionable for tonight, so if he doesn't come back today, he'll be soon. But teams 2, 3, 4, all suffering injuries, in the Western Conference standings.
It seemed on that it was extra windy in Houston for whatever reason. It just seemed that way. David, which of those teams are you most concerned about?
It's the Grizzlies. I don't know how they're going to sustain that defense without Jaren Jackson Jr. That's going to be tough for them, and they've lost some really, really close games as of late before getting blown out by OKC. They were number 2 in the West, and now they're fighting to stay somewhere in the home court advantage.
That's a good one. I think the Knicks, though, because they just don't play enough guys, right? Like, everybody's playing so many minutes that losing Brunson can be tough.
He's also so important for their clutch play. He's probably the leader for the clutch award this year. And the thing about it is when they have clutch games, which they have a lot of them, they really don't have another gear. It's usually Brunson or bust, and now they don't have Brunson for a bit.
Yeah, but they still have Mikal Bridges, and yes, they do play they don't play enough guys, right? They play so many minutes for every single guy out there. It puts an extra strain on them. But I don't know. I think they have more depth than they usually make use of. So
right.
They actually do.
They can play some guys. We'll see. In case you missed it, the chef is cooking something off the court as well. Let's bring back our guy, Shams Charania here, senior NBA insider. All right, Shams, what more can you tell us about what Steph is doing with his alma mater, Davidson?
George, Stephen Curry might be doing his best Bob Myers impersonation. He has accepted a role as assistant general manager of both the men's and women's programs at Davidson College, his alma mater. And this is essentially an advisory role to provide mentorship, guidance to male and female athletes at Davidson College, specifically the basketball programs. And Stephen Curry and his wife, Aisha, are also starting an 8-figure fund for the university's programs. And this does make some history here, George. Stephen Curry becomes the first active player in a U.S. major sport to take an administrative role with an NCAA team. So Stephen Curry today returning to Davidson College as an assistant general manager.
That's awesome stuff, Shams. Thank you so much. All right, let's bring in David Dennis Jr. because, Shams, I don't know if you know this, he's a Davidson alum. So how come they didn't call you, David?
Well, I try not to talk a lot about my time at Davidson. I try to be a little, not talk about it so much. But, yeah, I talked to Chris Clooney, the AD at Davidson. Look at that picture. Wow, look at these throwback pictures.
There might have been some irrational confidence that
I think there was some. the pink was very rationally confident. Thank you very much. But, yeah, look at these times at Davidson. I saw that irrational confidence when he was making those threes against Elon back in the day. But I talked to the AD, Davidson, Chris Clooney. He was talking about the fact, look, Steph Curry's not going to be here breaking down game film and telling you who to put on the team and things like that. But he is going to be in an advisory role. One of the big things that when Steph was at Davidson, They were in the SoCon conference. You get out with a bid automatically if you win that conference. They moved to the AT. The competition is stiffer. There's a lot more money in there, and he wants to help Davidson and help some of those players get on a March Madness-like run because he knows that Steph Curry's legacy started with that Elite Eight run.
No doubt about it. Thank you, David. Shams, you're the man. Thank you so much for the time, as always. Yes, sir. All right. You can catch Steph in our NBA Saturday primetime game on ABC and ESPN+. The Knicks wrap up their 5-game West Coast road trip in San Francisco against Steph, Jimmy, and the Warriors. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern.
NBA